same book, talks about going to the airport. He says, imagine if you went to the airport, but the airport thought that they were the destination. They thought you had just come to see them. How absurd would that be, right? No one goes to the airport just to go to the airport. They're always going there to connect to some other place, right? And he goes on to say that many U.S. churches today have come to think of themselves as a destination rather than a connector or a conduit into the mission of God. We think of ourselves much more often like a community center than a rescue station. It says this. We were told that if we built successful churches, people would come. We bought and paid for the lie that 6 flags over Jesus was what the world needed. We believed that if we built better churches, our cities would be better off. We telegraphed in dozens of ways the message that involvement in church life was the portal to fulfillment and the mark of an abundant life. But the jig is up. Evidence of this is everywhere and growing, both outside and inside the church culture. The program-driven church has produced a brand of Christianity that is despised, not just ignored, by the people outside the church. We have failed to demonstrate the love of Jesus, passing by people not like us on the other side of the road, on our way to building great churches. This guy is not fun to read, dear pastor. We want to emphasize personal spiritual coaching this year. Coming together in a large group is fine. I want to refocus that on celebration more than on training. But it's critical for us to understand how the pathways that we talk about all the time have to be personally addressed in our lives. And we have to start to take personal responsibility for our growth. If we rely on others, it won't happen. And we can do this in different ways. Some of us will link one-to-one with a spiritual coach. You'd rather have a one-to-one relationship with someone that can help you think through this. This doesn't have to be a super spiritual person at all. It's just someone that asks good questions of you so that you can wrestle. What do I need to do next? What can I do to increase my faith? What step could I take? What minor step could I take just to move forward in Jesus? Some of you will do it in groups of 2s or 3s because that works better for you. You know, just having some interaction with other people. Some in a journey group setting. I'm going to ask all of our journey group leaders to refocus what we're doing. Rather than just getting together, having a Bible study, eating food, and going home. Let's build in some personal spiritual coaching. My journey group let me use them as a test subject over the last month. They are good sports in my group, I'll have to tell you. They let us do all kinds of things. But I wanted to do 2 things. Number 1 was test this assessment that we're developing and see how it can be improved, where we hit the wall. It's an assessment to sort of figure out, okay, here's where I am in the pathways, where do I go next? And those kind of tools are always difficult. But we just did it as a group together for, 3 or 4 weeks maybe, I think. I have to tell you, personally, I think that our group took more significant steps of faith in the last month than in the year prior. Because we sat down together and we said, here's where, I struggle in my faith. And here's an area where I have to step up and take responsibility. And here's what I'm going to do, by the way. Just one simple thing. This week, I'm going to do this. And then we'd come back next week and we'd say, how'd that go? And sometimes it was like, it was an amazing experience. And sometimes it was like, oops. Didn't get very far. But we're there to encourage and challenge again. And it just worked for me. chip into you.
I come at it from a different angle. I mean, most of you know that I'm passionate about bringing drinking water to people around the globe. But what sparks, where I see God sparks here is I love helping people figure out what they're passionate about. And I love helping people figure out, okay, this is something I'm interested in, what steps can I take? And so figuring out how to take those baby steps that Ron talked about.
Yeah, so Alicia's fitting in obviously very critically into this whole spiritual coaching idea, because that's what a spiritual coach does. They try to ask the right questions to help people figure those things out.